And somebody better inject me with penicillin because that ball is gonorrhea.
You're listening to The Rob Dibble Show.
Well, they're not in the wild card race, but they certainly can leave their indelible mark on it, as all three teams tonight, the Yankees, Red Sox, and the Mets, can all hurt somebody as far as the playoffs go. Yankees play the Blue Jays. Marlins are in New York to play the Mets. And the Rays travel to Boston to play against the Boston Red Sox here as they're finishing their last six-game stretch the last week of the season. So, and you see guys whipping out their studs. I mean, listen, you got Kevin Gausman is starting for the Blue Jays. You got Eflin, ace for the Tampa Bay right now, other than Glasnow because of McClanahan going down. So they badly need to win these games, as Tampa Bay would love a bye. So they're still trying to catch the Baltimore Orioles here with 6 games to play, and they're 1 game back in the win column.
Now, you also got to start thinking this week of matchups here. So your third-place division team will go up against the last in the wild card, the 3 versus the 6. The 1 and 2 will get buys into the next series already. That's automatic. That's what's on the line for the Baltimore Orioles and the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, whoever loses the division will most likely be the 4 spot, who will match up with the 5, which could be the Toronto Blue Jays or one of those AL West
So what
teams.
you're saying is the Twins have to play the first in wild card.
Right. The 3-6.
Okay, so the 3 plays the 6, the 4 plays the 5, and that starts your wild card round. And so the Orioles, it's the Orioles or the Rays. The Rays don't want to be in the wild card.
Right.
So whoever wins the East is sitting out the first round. Rangers or Astros, whoever wins that division, because right now Twins got no shot. They got 83 wins. They already have an X next to theirs. So
happy to be in the Central is what they are. They're happy to be in the Central.
But they're also going to be in the wild card round.
Yes, the AL West is going to go down to the wire. We've been trying to tell you this for the last month, or really the whole month of September. The fun baseball right now is out west with the Rangers, with the Astros, and with the Mariners. Astros, Mariners again matching up tonight, and the Angels are putting up no fight.
No,
they're really putting up no fight.
Angels went down. Listen, the Rangers swept the Mariners. They're right now the Rangers are on fire. They have a 6-game winning streak.
Battled back, by the way. Back.
So they took the final 2 with Boston. They took the 3 with Seattle at home. Now they go on the road against the Angels. They take that one 5-1 last night. They got 2 more in L.A., and then they've got 4 in Seattle to finish the season. So they certainly would love to win the division. They don't want to have to go in as a wild card team and let the Astros win the division.
In a weird way, obviously you want to win your division, especially if you're in that division, because you are going to get a bye to the next round along with whoever wins the AL East. I would say, man, I want that 6th spot. I want to take on the Twins. Out of all of these teams, all of them, I watched those Diamondbacks against the Yanks, and I know the Yanks took 2 out of 3, but I don't want to face that Gallen guy. That's an automatic win for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and then take your chances with them.
Yep.
As a Cubs fan, I'm just looking at the Brewers. Gosh, if we match up with the Brewers, but then who you want? And pick your poison, the Braves, the Dodgers, or those Marlins. Like, there's a lot of teams that got some flavor there once they get in, except the Minnesota Twins. For me, this is just my personal opinion. I want that 6th spot in the AL. I'd rather have the 6th spot in the AL than the 4 or the 5 just because of the matchups. I want to play the Twins.
Well, right now, if the Astros don't win their division, the Blue Jays could possibly win more games.
Right.
And so they would be the 2 seed in the wild card. The Astros would be the 3 seed ahead of the Mariners. Now, the Mariners have a shot because they're going to go head-to-head against the Rangers coming up here for 4 to finish the season.
That's the fun stuff.
They could possibly leapfrog the Astros if they continue to play poorly. Astros have only won 3 of their last 10, and including last night. That was a huge win for the Houston Astros. So they threw Verlander last night, and he pitched a gem.
And it just feels like, I'm just thinking.
No, the Mets.
Where was this?
Right, the Mets may have handed the Astros either a division win or getting back to the playoff win.
Right.
by shipping Verlander back to the Astros.
And he'll have another start, too, before it's all over in that big series at the end of the week. But I do think that this guy knows what time it is. Like, when it comes to guys like him, when it comes to Scherzer, if he gets back.
Now, he is one of the most meaningful game pitchers going back to Curt Schilling that I've ever seen, or Andy Pettitte. I mean, when you hand him the ball, he is going to fight like hell. Now, guy could say is Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw's never pitched well in the postseason. Guys that were 500 pitchers in the postseason, Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine. Best guy in that rotation was John Smoltz. John Smoltz was the equivalent of Andy Pettitte when it came to postseason and meaningful games. Verlander, 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 8 punch-outs, 96 pitches. Most guys throw 96 in the first 4 or 5 innings in their starts. That just shows you how good Justin Verlander still is to this day, and didn't throw a lot of first-pitch strikes. I quickly go down to that. He was awful. 13 of 27 batters he threw a first-pitch strike, so he battled his butt off. And that shows you how a veteran guy, 40 years old, pitches.
This is what it's all about when it comes to the postseason. Not only the starters, it's the complete cupboard. The complete cupboard of starter, mid-relief, and then closing the door. Who do you think has that full cupboard? Like, what team that we have been talking about here in all of these games that still has an option to get to the postseason? And once you're in, all you got to do is win. What team is the scariest?
I don't think any of them. I don't think there's I mean, right now the Rays, because you have a 1 and 2 in Eflin and Glasnow, but Glasnow just came back from being hurt. Atlanta Braves, I mean, if they can get healthy enough to get Fried, Morton back, Strider's your number 1, Fried would be your number 2, Elder's excellent. So, I mean, the Braves and the National League side, they have a threesome. Anybody that has 2 right now, anybody that has, it's so hard to look and say, well, this team's got 2 or 3 great guys, because everybody's exhausted. I can't believe that we're talking about Cy Young Award winners where they're barely over 200 innings. And even Snell is under 200 innings, and they're giving him the National League Cy Young. I don't know why. I think Strider, who is 40 strikeouts ahead of anybody as far as strikeouts go, has worked his butt off on a great team. That's why they're good. Because Morton's been up and down all year. He's been inconsistent. Fried's been hurt. You know, I mean, so when you're talking about a guy who basically held his own all year, I think Spencer Strider deserves a nod. If you look at Logan Webb might be under 500, but he's at a 3.5 ERA on San Francisco. He has pitched his butt off. They have 15 team wins. San Francisco Giants aren't anywhere near the postseason without Logan Webb. He's not going to win the Cy Young, but he should be in the top 5.
The team that I think is scary, and they don't have anyone in the Cy Young conversation, but they have the same rotation they started with, it feels like the beginning of the season. The Toronto Blue Jays are running with Gausman, Bassett, Barrios. That's probably your series. You got Kikuchi in the mix, and don't forget about Jin Ryu. That's a solid 5 rotation. And then our guy, Jordan Romano, to close the door in the back end. Jordan Hicks is a setup guy. That Garcia fella that's getting a lot of innings right now.
Jordan Hicks and Romano. Hicks throws 105. He is filthy.
Yeah.
So, and actually Romano comes in and he's a guy who throws about 7 miles an hour slower, and he still throws in the mid-90s. So, I mean, you're talking about 2 of the better arms in the major leagues in the same bullpen. I thought that was a great pickup, was the Blue Jays getting Jordan Hicks.
How much does postseason experience matter in Major League Baseball?
It doesn't. It's how calm you are in these meaningful games. I mean, I think now some of these guys, because they've been playing AAU since they were 10 years old, I think so many of them aren't fazed by big games. It's just going out there, staying within yourself, and doing what you're supposed to be doing. I don't know how any of these guys feel. It was different in my day because some guys, they may have been exhausted, but like I said, chemically, they would figure it out. Whatever mixture I had to take, whatever shot I had to take, I'm going out there to play. I'm gonna play, and I'm not just talking about pitchers. I'm talking about every player. It's like football. I mean, people don't understand. I mean, yeah, it sounds like Dibble. What are you talking about? That's the only way at this point in the season. Everybody feels like crap. And so it's who wants the ball versus who doesn't want the ball. Who is like, I don't know if I can pitch. I mean, those are the kind of guys that managers are like, okay, I can't count on that guy. It's whoever is saying, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. That's why a guy like Logan Webb is a guy that I'd want to play with.
When you're talking about Max Fried, and you and Kernan were talking about this as a guy.
They probably IL'd him for his own being, well-being, because he seems like the kind of guy he would pitch through pain, and we know he's probably hurting. So, and they can tell. The one thing about analytics I'll give you and all the technology, I can tell when a guy's hurting. His velocity is going to go down 3-4 mile an hour quickly. Guys are hitting ropes all over the place, so we don't really need. We have an eyeball test for that, but there's a lot of stuff. Even the spin rate on curveballs, the spin rate on your fastballs, your sinkers spin rate, things like that. All of those things, those are good tells. So I'm not against any of that stuff. When you see a guy coming down the stretch, I'll never forget. I bring this up all the time. When I thought it was an amazing job, and I think it was still Theo Epstein, when he rested Josh Beckett and Schilling in September. They each just got 2 starts. They went 7-0 in the postseason, and I think it was their second championship that they won in a row. Or not in a row, but in 3-4 years, 2004, 2007. But that was fascinating to me, because that was one of the first times when they said, we're sitting you. You're bigger to us in October than you are in the third week of September. And we're going to, maximize you in the postseason and really, really slow you down.
And there's no drop off to that, though, like just shutting it down for a couple of weeks.
Not shutting. They didn't shut them off totally.
So you got to throw in between. They slowed them down. They're through in between. They did their bullpens, but they didn't go into the rotation in their starts. So they only got 2 starts each in September that year. And I think it was 2007. But when I saw that, I was like, someone's actually thinking. Someone's thinking. Maybe the Braves won 14 straight divisions and 1 world championship. It's still puzzling to me. They had 3 Hall of Famers in that rotation. And they had they had Steve Avery in there. That's
they had
baseball,
other great stars. I know.
That's baseball.
And it's tough, because maybe had Sherholtz been thinking back then with Leo Mazzoni, and they said, hey, maybe we should slow these guys down. They could throw every day, but they don't need to max effort in these games. And that's the difference. I think keeping these guys as healthy as possible now in the postseason is huge.
I'm nervous as all get out. Cubs got the Braves tonight in Atlanta. Gosh, I hope they don't need to play for anything. They're done. Just take a nap. Don't do anything. Stop it. You can lose 6 in a row.
You got guys that are playing for stuff, but you got guys that, like you said, you're setting up your rotations for the postseason. You're the Braves. You're getting a bye. So and I bet, just like when I didn't want time off.
Right.
Time off is a killer for baseball players. It's great for football players. It's bad for baseball players. Hitters that are hot, pitchers that are, have their edge in the bullpen, and guys in the rotation that like to work consistently. It sucks. So I think that, whether you IL guys or you minimize their starts in September, leading up to the postseason, I don't think there is a perfect formula to win championships.
A lot of ILs on my team right now, but I'm hoping that
I also like the Blue Jays lineup. You talked about the rotation. I mean,
well, that's what I'm asking about these.
Some
baby
guys that
Blue
haven't
Jays.
had great years, but you still have some good bats and some backup bat. Listen, I like Brandon Belt. I like that guy, being able to kind of put him in.
They needed him this year.
But you got Bo Bichette's having a great year. Matt Chapman had a great start. He's starting to figure it out again. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is always a game changer. Kevin Kiermaier, which I think a lot of people have thought last 3, 4, 5 years, all of a sudden we put him in a better lineup. This kid's, I think, is his highest batting average in a long time. He's hitting 268. He's got some home runs, some RBI, but still playing unbelievable outfield for this team. I mean, they've got veterans and guys that have come close to world championships. I think this is still a hungry team when it comes to the postseason.
My guy George Springer's healthy.
Yep.
That's a good thing for the Blue Jays. And
he's already won a ring, so it's good to have guys with rings in the locker room.
Yeah, I think the AL East should not be just discounted at all because of the success of the AL West and how they're going to come down the stretch and really play meaningful baseball games. I said what I said about Minnesota. I still believe that, but I think the Blue Jays, the Orioles, and the Rays, gosh, I don't want to play any team in the AL besides the Minnesota Twins, because I think every single one of those 5 that get in, other than them, are definitely potential to win the World.
I think the Arizona
Series.
Diamondbacks, if they make the postseason, which they're close to, Christian Walker is a dude that has had a monster year. Corbin Carroll obviously is going to win Rookie of the Year. Has been exceptional. Gurriel, some of these guys on that team, Marte. They've got a lot of veterans to go along. I think Torey Lovullo doesn't get spoken about enough for like manager of the year.
For sure.
For that team. I mean, we always talk about Council is great with the Brewers have a pretty good team. Let's face it, the last 5 years, Brewers are right in the thick of things every year. But the Diamondbacks basically gave away the house and still had some stuff left over in the cupboards.
Totally. I think that, that team in particular in the neighborhood that they are at, you got to go up against the Dodgers and what they're bringing.
The money pit, that's the
Padres has spent so much money and so many all-stars on that team. The Giants are, they've had their best clip in the last 10 years, and they look like they're going to improve their roster next year.
I was surprised that Kernan went after Juan Soto. I mean, I think Tatis Jr. is an issue. Juan Soto is an issue, too. Wow. So that's a problem. Sometimes you have too many superstars in the same locker room. Manny Machado chose to get his surgery.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out of here.
I'm tagging out.
I'm out of here.
I'm tapping out.
It's been fun, man. It's going to be a fun, nervous. It's not going to be fun. Actually, I take that back. It's going to be horrible for me this week.
As a Cubs fan, you're on the edge of your seat every night. You're scoreboard
nervous.
watching, but you're watching everybody around you.
I'm screaming at every at-bat.
I'm impressed by what the Brewers have done, though. Quietly, nobody gives them any chance to be successful any year. And again, listen, Burns is not the same guy he was a couple of years ago, but they have Woodruff, Miley, Hauser, Peralta. They've got another. They are probably the better, other than the Braves, the better rotation going into the postseason.
And still a lot of people that you don't know much about. I mean, it's a no-name
still have
team.
Devin Williams, the all-star closer.
Yeah. I tell you all the time, I think that Monasterio is the most underrated baseball player in all of baseball. He plays every position on the infield. I think he's the best third baseman in the league. That's how much I feel about this guy. He's not even on the start. Josh Donaldson took it over.
Yelich with a bounce-back year, 19 homers, 75, hitting 276 here.
But still not like MVP status.
No, but as where he was when he was in the bottom, it was sad. It was sad. And then Contreras' brother, having a decent year at catcher.
Dude, they're 20 games over 500. They have dominated that Central. They are a player. And everybody is going to be like, who the hell's on this team? Oh, yeah, Christian Yelich. I remember that guy. There's going to be so much of that when they hit the postseason. People see him for the first time after 162 games.
No, and people are going to freak when you see Rowdy Tellez crushing the
When people finally see Rowdy Tellez, they're going to get off Daniel Vogelbach's back.
You're like, oh, Vogelbach, he's skinny compared to that dude.
Dude.
All right, we'll take a quick break.
Slim.
We'll come back. Nick Sakavich is going to join us next. He's the new CEO of the Hartford Athletic. You're going to love this interview that Ben did with him earlier before the show started. He's got a lot of great stuff to say about building up soccer in the state of Connecticut and especially the community of Hartford. We'll be right back.